All right, let's dive right in. If you're dealing with the frustrations of an aging prostate, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to cut through all the noise and give you a super clear, actionable plan to help you reclaim control over your health, starting, well, right now. Does any of this sound familiar? Waking up multiple times at night? That frustrating feeling that your bladder is just never fully empty? Or maybe you've noticed your stream just isn't what it used to be. Look, these aren't just little annoyances. They are signals from your body, and they have a real impact on your quality of life. For way too long, men have been told, hey, that's just part of getting older. You just have to accept it. But you know what? That's just not the whole story. Your prostate isn't failing you. It's responding to very specific signals, hormonal ones, inflammatory ones, dietary ones. And the best part? You have so much power to change those signals. So how are we going to do it? Well, here's our roadmap. First, we'll get into the real drivers behind your symptoms. Then we're going to get super practical and talk about what to avoid eating and, more importantly, what to add to your plate. We'll wrap it all up with some simple daily habits that can make a huge impact. Okay, before we jump into all the solutions, we really need to understand the why. There are two main culprits that cause the prostate to enlarge and create all those urinary symptoms: a shift in your hormones and a state of chronic low-grade inflammation. So this slide here really breaks down that hormonal puzzle. As men get older, testosterone naturally goes down. That's pretty well known. But at the same time, a specific enzyme gets more active, and its job is to convert your testosterone into a much, much more potent form called DHT. Now, when DHT and estrogen levels get too high in relation to your testosterone, they basically act like a nonstop growth signal for the prostate. And the second driver? It's chronic inflammation. The best way to think about this is like a silent, slow-burning fire inside your prostate. This isn't like a sudden infection, it's this persistent, low-level irritation that's often fueled by diet and lifestyle. And this inflammation, it triggers cell growth, it causes swelling, and it makes all of those frustrating urinary symptoms even worse. Okay, so let's get to our first action step. Let's stop fueling that fire. And you might actually be surprised to learn that some common foods, even some healthy ones, could be contributing to the very inflammation and hormonal imbalance we just talked about. First on the list is soy. Now, I know it's often seen as a health food, but things like soy milk and tofu contain what are called phytoestrogens. For an aging man whose testosterone is already naturally declining, adding these plant-based estrogens can kind of mess with that delicate testosterone to estrogen ratio, which can encourage more prostate growth. Next up, we have dairy. While it's great for growing bones, things like milk, cheese, and yogurt contain growth-promoting hormones, like IGF-1. In an adult, these growth factors can send the wrong signal to tissues that are prone to enlargement, like your prostate. It's basically telling them to keep growing when they really shouldn't be. And finally, those common vegetable oils, corn oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil, they are loaded with omega-6 fatty acids. Now, we do need some omega-6, but the modern diet gives us way, way too much of it. This creates a pro-inflammatory state in the body that can directly affect the prostate, causing swelling and just making symptoms worse. And this same idea applies to your snacks too. You gotta know that not all nuts are created equal when it comes to prostate health. Peanuts and cashews, for example, are higher in those pro-inflammatory omega-6 fats. So what you wanna do is prioritize nuts like walnuts, which are packed with anti-inflammatory omega-3s, and Brazil nuts, which give you selenium, a super crucial mineral for prostate health. And get this, just 1 or 2 Brazil nuts a day is all you need. Okay, enough about what to avoid. Let's talk about building up your defense. There are some specific powerhouse foods that can actively fight inflammation, help balance your hormones, and basically build a protective shield around your prostate. So how big of a difference can food actually make? Well, a major Harvard study found that men who regularly ate certain protective fruits reduced their risk of severe prostate problems by this much: 40%. That is the incredible power of strategic eating. So what are these magical foods? Well, right at the top of the list are tomatoes and watermelon. Both are incredibly rich in lycopene, which is a powerful antioxidant that actually concentrates in the prostate. Berries are fantastic for fighting inflammation. Pomegranates can help block that enzyme that creates DHT, and walnuts and pumpkin seeds give you essential zinc, which helps support healthy testosterone levels. And hey, here's a fantastic pro tip for you. To get the most out of one of nature's best prostate protectors, cook your tomatoes. When you cook them, it breaks down the cell walls, and that makes the lycopene way more available. And if you add a healthy fat like olive oil, your body's ability to absorb that lycopene just skyrockets. So things like tomato sauce and soups are excellent choices. All right, so diet is foundational, for sure, but it's not the whole story. You can get some serious, and often really fast, relief just by changing how you urinate. This is all about mastering the mechanics so you can work with your body, not against it. This is called the double empty technique, and honestly, it's a total game changer. So before you start, just take a long, slow exhale and consciously relax your pelvic floor. Let the urine flow naturally without pushing or straining. Then, when you think you're done, just pause. Wait for about 10 seconds. Then do one more long exhale to release a second stream. That second release is often the very urine that would have sent you right back to the bathroom 10 minutes later. And listen, this isn't just some theory. Urologists see this work in their practices all the time. As Dr. Adriana Wells points out, patients who make these simple changes, both with diet and mechanics, often see real, tangible results, sometimes within just a few weeks. This isn't rare, it's just physiology. Now, to complete your action plan, let's just lock in 4 key lifestyle levers. First, stay active. Even 20 minutes of walking helps. Second, manage your weight because excess body fat actually produces its own inflammatory compounds. Third, be smart about your fluids. Try to limit bladder irritants like caffeine and alcohol, especially at night. And finally, stay regular. Constipation puts direct physical pressure on the bladder, which just increases that feeling of urgency. So, what's the big takeaway here? It's this. Your prostate isn't just passively aging, it is actively listening to the signals that you send it every single day. The power to change those signals through your food, your habits, and your lifestyle is completely in your hands. So the only question left is, what new signal are you going to send it today?